Part 4. No Way Out. For the rest of the failed day, the team spent all their time quietly in the cabin. When night came, they fed the fireplace and went to sleep. When everyone woke up, Jim was gone from his bed. He had taken his rifle and left. They panicked. Had Jim gone out to escape? Could he have abandoned the others? John, Sarah, and Lisa were still in their beds when they heard a rifle shot from outside, far away. Sarah said, "I think Jim went hunting." John got out of bed and went outside. He couldn't see anything outside, so he went back into the cabin. The cabin was warm. They no longer put out the fireplace at night. They kept the fire alive all day. 20 minutes later, Jim entered the cabin with the rabbit he had shot in his hand. His eyes were shining. As someone who had never hunted before, he had returned successfully from his first hunt. The others couldn't believe their eyes. They congratulated him. John and Jim went away from the cabin and removed the rabbit's internal organs. They took the meat and returned to the cabin. The girls brought wood to the cabin. By noon, the snow had increased in intensity. There was a thick fog in the distance. The team went and got water from the stream before it got dark. The team returned to the cabin after getting water. John and Jim started cooking the rabbit meat. Sarah and Lisa placed the wood on the fireplace. The smell of rabbit meat began to spread throughout the cabin. Everyone's stomachs were rumbling. They would be able to eat fresh meat for the first time in a long time. When dinner was ready, everyone sat at the table. They ate the rabbit meat with pleasure. Jim said, "This is the most delicious rabbit meat I have ever eaten in my life." The others agreed with him. After dinner, everyone rested a bit. The snowstorm outside was still going on. Jim browsed through the books on the shelf. He took one of them and lay down on the fur in front of the fireplace. The book was about trap techniques. It explained how to make which trap for which animal with very little requirement, with pictures and explanations. Jim read the book eagerly, impatient to try what he read. With the rabbit he shot today, he felt more confident about hunting. Jim showed the book to the others after he finished it. "Look, it explains trap techniques here," he said. "Maybe we can try them." The others also liked his idea. Jim started making traps. The others helped him. For the rest of the day, they stayed in the cabin and tried to make traps with everything they could use. They had a satisfying meal with a plump rabbit that was the catch of the day. But they didn't know what the future days would bring. They were living a life full of dangers. Jim had managed to shoot the rabbit with an old rifle. John wanted to try hunting with handmade traps. As the sun set, they packed their belongings and looked for a safe place to sleep. They would set their traps where they saw animal tracks. After they entered the forest and placed their traps, they returned. Lisa was watching John and Jim from the window. She couldn't see outside because of the snow and darkness, but she didn't give up looking. Sarah threw wood into the fireplace. She watched the sparks of fire. Every minute that passed in expectation scared them more. Finally Lisa said, "I see their flashlights, they're here." Sarah opened the door. Jim and John, who had turned white because of the snowstorm, entered. "John, we set the traps. Pray that all the traps are full tomorrow," he said. "Jim, a few of them, it's okay if they're full." Together, they prepared dinner. Before the meal, they all prayed. Their prayers were for the traps they set in the forest to be full tomorrow. They would go and check the traps tomorrow morning. But it was evening, the meals were eaten, and it was bedtime. Now they went to bed very early and got up with the daylight. Time was no longer measured by the watch on their arms. The measure of time was now only daylight.